I am Massoud Tami, born March 21, 1964, in Tehran, Iran. When I was 15, my parents emigrated to United Kingdom. We arrived in Clacton-on-Sea on January 13, 1978. I went to language school, Colbans High School and Colchester College. In 1982, my dad went back to Iran, my mother and younger brother went to Germany. I stayed behind in UK, went to college and married my penfriend, Trudy Ann Wink. I was given indefinite leave to remain in UK by Home Office in 1985. However, Colchester Social Security denied us of any state benefits we were entitled to, saying, if you didn't have enough money to support yourself and your wife for the rest of your life, Home Office should have never let you stay here. We lived in Mistley, Clacton-on-Sea, St. Osyth, Jaywick, Essex, 2 years, before moving to 74C Corporation Street West, Walsall, West Midlands, in 1986, next door to a black guy, Dennis Warner, who had been to prison for attempted murder, was a pimp, drug pusher, bodybuilder, and schizophrenic. Dennis Warner became obsessed by me the moment we moved next door to him. He used to call me Nelson. I was attacked by Dennis Warner. He broke our flat door in broad daylight, pulled out a table leg, confronted me saying, Nelson, if you want to kill me, you better kill me now, otherwise I will come and kill you. All I could think of telling him was, how many times do I have to tell you, my name is not Nelson. We called the police. They said, if you haven't got a cut more than an inch long, there is nothing we can do. We moved back to Essex, November 25, 1991. My wife, Trudy, met up with her old school friend, Maria Wellham. With her and her husband's encouragement, we applied and were housed by Colchester Borough Council. A Falklands War veteran, Brian Humble, helped my wife get disability benefits she was entitled to. We were given a flat at 18A Stalin Road, Colchester, next door to a family of 34 children, the Coppins. Word had it members of this family had incest and brothers and sisters had children from each other. A 92-year-old man and a 75-year-old woman lived in the flat above us, when one day, the old man came after us with a rifle, thinking he was still in Second World War and we were Germans. Police sealed off the street. He later moved to an old people's home. Our flat was burgled by Christian McShane, a drug addict. Him and his friends stole every single electrical item in our flat and urinated in our bed. Christian McShane had just come out of prison and wanted to go back inside. He said his addiction to drugs would be better provided inside prison. Whilst at 18 Stalin Road, I was headbutted by another drug addict, Gavin Carter. He broke my head, blood pouring everywhere. When Colchester police turned up, they said, we will come to get a medical report with you and then arrest him, but I am warning you, once released, he is likely to get much worse. We were rehoused to 3 Mayflower Close, Colchester. Neighbors upstairs were young, noisy, had a newborn baby. I remember Sheena, Irish decent, coming downstairs to borrow money, saying, my dad is a vicar, I was adopted as a child, you had no idea we would move next door to you and would make life hell for you. We did a mutual exchange with a lady from 47 Kinlet Close, Colchester. We were baptized by Reverend Graham Stevens at Colchester Evangelical Church in 1996. Days later, our car aquaplaned on London to Colchester Road, hit a telegraph post at 70 miles per hour. My wife's left leg was broken. She underwent an 8-hour emergency operation, stayed in Colchester General Hospital 10 weeks. I visited her every day. My friend Tony Francis became more addicted to alcohol and brought a long-standing friendship to an end by becoming racially abusive. I had a caution from Essex police over an argument with him. Our neighbor's husband, Peter Thompson, also an alcoholic, became abusive towards us. January 2000, his wife attacked my wife inside our flat, 2 weeks after I had come home from a hernia operation. We called the police. P.C. Spurrier assaulted me in front of his colleague, P.C. Butters, who just stood there saying, I never saw nothing. We complained. Incident got recorded at Police Complaints Authority, who apologized. Nevertheless, I was charged with common assault. Mrs. Thompson alleged I had punched her once on the arm. When she was shown photo of alleged injuries and questioned by my solicitor, Mr. Malcolm Jones, she changed her story, saying, Mr. Tami had something sharp in his hand. She alleged she had made subsequent police statements, of which there was no trace of. When I protested at Whittam Magistrates Court, with our neighbors laughing their head off, magistrates said to me, Mr. Tami, they are not on trial here, you are. You are walking on rocky grounds here. Subsequently, friends of our neighbors, Sue Weldon and Maureen Ashcroft, carried on with onslaught. They shouted at me, I shouted back at them. WPC Wartsack from Colchester Police charged me with public order offence Section 4 and 5. Crown Prosecution Service did a deal with my solicitor Malcolm Jones. If you admit to the one charge, we drop the other. I was advised to plead guilty. My solicitor said after the court case, Massoud, Crown Prosecution Service are supposed to be there to act in public interest. But in reality, they don't give a toss about the public, it's all about winning. You are just another piece of meat to them. Our Salvation Army Major, David Fry, said to me, Massoud, I apologize on their behalf. Kathy Healy from John Groom's Housing Association apologized and rehoused us to 133 Trenchard Lodge, Chelmsford, Essex, on October 30, 2000. Between January and April 2006, we received lots of racially abusive, threatening phone calls on our second-hand mobile phone. Mrs. Tami complained to her GP Dr. Simon Schultz of Beecham Surgery, Chelmsford, and her psychologist Dr. Carmarshare, Linden Center, Chelmsford. We also went to Chelmsford Police Station, only to be told by a police sergeant, sorry, nothing can be done. It is not like a landline phone at home, where you receive bills to your name. We also went to the shop where we got our mobile phone and reported the matter to 3G Network. 30th March 2006, police officers from Belgravia Police Station, London, headed by DC Jim Reed, raided our flat at 133 Trenchard Lodge, Chelmsford. Police photographer asked me to strip half naked so he could take a picture of me. I refused. DC Jim Reed took a plunger, amongst other personal belongings from our flat and a carrier bag outside Trenchard Lodge. Mrs. Tami got very tearful. A taxi was called to take her to her mum's in Harwich. I was arrested on suspicion of public nuisance and driven to Belgravia Police Station, London. In the afternoon I was interviewed by DC Jim Reed, Elaine Payne and my solicitor Jyoti Somavarapua from Caleb Solicitors. A London woman, Jo, has made allegations that she received phone calls from whom police suspect me of. She says, one minute he said he loved me, then he said he would rape me. Jo, who is supposed to be a witness in a murder trial, is also alleging, he video called me and masturbated using a carving knife. Jo also says in a statement to the police, I had a text message saying, look out for a blue car. I looked out of the window, there were 6 blue cars parked outside. A statement was read by my solicitor during taped interview stating, Massoud and Trudy Tami had been victims of a hate campaign and received racially abusive and threatening phone calls, records of which were kept on mobile phone and on paper. During taped interview, DC Elaine Payne came across such papers. Amongst many phone numbers were that of Jo and her friends and her family's numbers with called me a packy and threatened to kill me written in front of Jo's numbers. Having explained to my solicitor how often Jo's daughter Sam used to call and send text messages to our mobile phone saying, when you don't call us it gets very boring here. We want to meet you so you can strip for us. And that Jo had put a young girl about 10 years old in front of video phone and asked me to expose myself to her. Jyoti Somavarapua informed me, I had been set up and if police decide to bring charges against me, she would ask abusive calls made to us to be investigated. We left UK on 18th of May 2006 for Iran, where my darling wife, whom I worship the ground she walks on, received private medical treatment for her mental health problems. We stayed with my elderly father in Tehran. I phoned Belgravia Incident Room on 0207-321-9251 to ask about progress of police investigations. A detective inspector, Tim Dobson, said to me, I am not saying we want you back here, but if you do decide to come back, phone and let us know so we can charge you with malicious communications. Don't worry, it is only a summary hearing. We are not coming to look for you in Iran. Prior to leaving UK May 2006 we went to Chelmsford Police Station. A duty sergeant assured us, Any racially abusive calls or threats you have had would automatically be investigated by Belgravia Police Station. My papers have been passed on to a DC Karen Hunt. My solicitor Jyoti Somavarapu has declined to ask police to investigate the threats to us, saying, "That's not my job. I am only a defense solicitor. You have to go and see another solicitor about that." "Last time I spoke to my solicitor all the way from Iran," she said, "police are saying you have sent pictures of weapons to other people from your phone." When I asked what kind of weapons, she continually kept laughing and wouldn't tell me. Then I had an email from her boss, David Calab, saying, "Dear Mr. Tami, since you have chosen to make official complaint, I shall wait for the Law Society and will respond to them. However, since you appear to be disseminating false information on the internet and the overall tone of your email is frankly highly abusive, I assume that you are waiving any privilege that exists between solicitor and client, and you will accordingly have no objection to us responding as we see fit to the misinformation you are apparently bent on providing. We complain to Independent Police Complaints Commission against Essex Police and London Metropolitan Police. Both complaints have been recorded by professional standards. However, Metropolitan Police decided not to investigate the matter, while Essex Police concluded, as there are no recording facilities on cameras installed at Chelmsford Police Station, officers we spoke to cannot be identified. Tuesday, 20th November 2007, about 12 noon UK time, I phoned Belgravia Incident Room on 0207-321-9251 to speak to DC Karen Hunt, who had an Afro accent. As soon as I introduced myself, she shouted, "Oi! You, listen. If you ever call me again, I will bring another charge against you. I will only speak to you when you get back here at the police station." Shocked, I said, "I will complain against you to IPCC," to which she replied, "You can go and complain to whoever you want." I remember, I am Massoud